Hello everyone. Today's poem is Qingping Theme by Li Bai. This poem is about springtime and beauty. Qingping Theme is one of the music rhythm pattern name, which was told from the Zhou dynasty, roughly 3,000 years ago from today. And this type of music normally is for the affairs in the royal palace, the harem, the back house, about the love affairs, about the making love things. So it's always about the king and the queens and the love affairs and all the events, all the things about making love. So Li Bai used this title to indicate this poem or this song is as well as for the kings, for the emperors, and for the queens, just like 1,500 years ago in the Zhou dynasty. So this is sort of the heritage from the Asian people, and this gives the poems much more background. Today we'll introduce one of the three poems Li Bai wrote per the request of the emperor Tang Xuanzong, the very famous emperor Tang Xuanzong. At his throne, the Tang dynasty reached its peak of the glory, and at his throne, the Tang dynasty dropped very deeply to decline from the peak of its glory. And of course, this poem was written in a good time, almost in the peak of the glory of the Tang time, and the emperor summoned Li Bai to come into the palace, Qingping, the small palace Tang Xuanzong built for his own and his queen, Yang Guifei, the very famous queen in Chinese history. And so Li Bai come to the palace, the smaller palace, Qingping. Today there's a park that is named after Qingping, which was so-called Qingping Gongyuan. It was rebuilt on almost the same site where is the palace in the Tang dynasty, and also built some of the replica of the buildings. And Ting is the building where Li Bai wrote this poem, and also where the king, the emperor, and the queen stayed there, and they appreciate the flowers in the spring, the peony flowers. The emperor and the queen was very high at the time. They called Li Bai, the poet, to come into the palace and write the poem for the queen per the peony flowers, per the situations that time. And the poem is for the lyrics of the songs, Qingping Theme, the rhythm pattern so the rhythm was chosen or might be chosen by the emperors, and Li Bai write the new lyrics for that song. So there's three poems. We will introduce just one of them, and this poem is very famous to reflect the most glorious time of the Tang dynasty and the kings and the queens, as well as it's the best poem to describe the peony flowers. Peony flowers is the state flower in the Tang dynasty, and in the Qing dynasty still was the state flower. And the peony flower in a current Chinese mind, it resembles the richness and represent the glory and the noble. So it's the most noble and the most very prestigious flowers in a typical Chinese mind. It's from this image was built from the Tang dynasty, because the peony flowers is not a wild flower. It's by human cultivated flowers. Before Tang dynasty, there's no record about the peony flowers, the name and the flowers as well. There's not a record. And since Tang dynasty, because the royal family, the emperors, was so fond of the peony flowers, it was first cultivated in the royal palace and then spread out to the normal families, to the other places, from the capital city Chang'an to Luoyang and to a lot of the cities across the country. And today, the peonies in Xi'an city or the previous Chang'an city is not the most famous for. The most famous is in the city of Luoyang, or the east capital of the Tang dynasty. So in every year around May 1st, there is a festival about the peony flowers in Luoyang city. So you can take the time to have a look and see in Luoyang city. But this poem is about the very original and the real stories. The peony flower in the Chang'an city, in Xi'an city, about the kings and queens, and it was written by the most prestigious, most famous poet in the Tang dynasty, Li Bai. That's not all about this poem or the three poems Li Bai wrote at site in the Qingping. Li Bai was abandoned by the emperor because of these three poems. The reason is Li Bai was a very, very proud person, and he made several enemies in the royal family or in the government. Even the emperor was so fond of him, fond of his poems. Anyhow, there's so many people is saying bad of Li Bai's around the emperors, and these three poems, not the poems we introduced today, but it's three poems right at one time, always about the peony flowers, about the queens. And one of the poems, Li Bai's enemy said one of the poems has implied the queen is not a good queen. That Li Bai used a very, very bad queen in the history time to imply the current queen was not good virtue, is not a bad guy, a bad queen. So this make the queen, actually it's not queen, he's the second or third, maybe fourth, but she's the most favorite woman of the Tang Xuanzong, the emperor. And the young Gui was so angry about the one of the 3 poems, and he told something to the emperors. The emperor had to abandon Li Bai this time, and the emperor gave Li Bai a lot of gold to express he actually is very fond of like Li Bai and Li Bai's poems, but he had to send him away. Okay, let's get to the poem. A poem about peony flower, about the beauty, the 杨贵妃。清平调其一，李白。云想衣裳花想容，春风拂槛露华浓。若非群玉山头见，会向瑶台月下逢。Very simple, but is with so many magic imaginations of this poem. 云想衣裳花想容. There's 2 explanations about these sentences. One is when you saw the splendid clouds, you thought about the beautiful clothes the 杨贵妃 wear. And also when you saw the glorious, splendid flowers, the peony flowers, and which remind you of the beautiful face of the beauty, 杨贵妃, the queen, the second or third queen. The second explanation is because Li Bai is on site with the queen and with the emperors. So the wonderful flower, the beautiful queen is in front of him. So with this situation, we can explain the first sentences as the splendid clouds want to be the clothes for the queens, and the glorious, beautiful peony flowers want to decorate the face of the queens. So this makes the queens much more beautiful and make the meanings more sophisticated. So that's a very natural human's psychology is when you saw a beauty, sometimes you want to be part of that beauty. And this psychology thinkings actually reflect, on the contrary, reflect the beauty is such a beautiful woman or such a beautiful things, because normally very few things can arouse this sort of the psychological thinkings. You want to be part, or maybe you even want to be the shoes to be stepped on by the beauty. So that's one of the thinkings. And this, in the other hand, the second thought make the beauty in your imagine such a beautiful and it's beyond the normal people's imaginations. So I think as a genius, and Li Bai, and of course Li Bai is very self-sufficient and self-respect. He won't look from the lower levels to look up to the queens. He treat him very well, and he look just like equal person. Look at the queen, look at the emperors, and these characters can be reflected also in his other poems. He's a very proud person, actually. So the first sentence is quite famous, and is always recited from time to time to describe a very, very beautiful woman, extraordinary beautiful woman. So I think the second explanation will be more close to the what the poet Li Bai thought, that the splendid clouds want to be the clothes for the queen, Yang Guifei, and the glorious, the luxurious, the most beautiful peony flowers want to be the part decoration things to the outlook of the queen, Yang Guifei. Okay, the second sentence is 春风拂槛露华浓. So there's also very, very vague and not clear sentences. 春风拂槛. So in the surface, the spring winds blow on the railing, the fence of the palace. Normally, the high-rise building, they are in the Chengxiangge. This is is a sort of the high-rise building, but we're surrounded with the platform. So the railing is on the edge of the platform, and the queen and emperor, most likely they are on the railing and rely on the railing and look to the peony in the garden. So this in the surface, and the 露华浓, 露华, 露 is the dew. So this very likely to be the early mornings. The dew is still on the leaves, on the flowers. And the last words, 浓, is very unique. It's so much of creative, because when you're describing the jewels, it's crystal, it's very fresh, but Li Bai used a different method or beyond anybody's imagination. 浓 means very dense and very thick. It could be a flavor or it could be a color. So with this description, 浓, actually it gives the outface or outlookings. The 露 actually is to describing the peony flower is so beautiful and fresh, but he adds some other aspects, because the peony flower normally is quite the color is very rich, much rich than normal other flowers. So it's a richness, and it's very colorful, and it's also gives the situation a very, very sort of the erotic. Is mixed of so much heavy erotic sense. And also, when we have a second thought, 春风, spring, a lot of times implies the things between a man and a woman, the love affairs, making loves. So 春风拂槛. So it's very easy for Chinese that 春风拂槛 indicates the emperor and the queen, they are embracing each other and they are touching each other. 拂槛, that's the action. 露华浓, and 露华浓 indicates the beauty, the richness of the beauty, and also the queen, the characters of the beauty in the Tang dynasty is a little bit fat. It's not like today's women, everybody want to be slim or bony, but in the Tang dynasty, it's a little bit fat. It's more trendy to have a little fat for the women's. So 浓 also could be part of that characteristics. So with the first two sentences, Li Bai used the most splendid clouds and the state flower, peony flowers, to make the beauty much more beauty beyond imagination. You may see the splendid clouds, you may see the beautiful peony flowers, but the beauty, the queen, is much more than that. It's beyond your imaginations. And with the third and fourth sentences, he used an indirect way, another indirect way to further emphasize how much beauty or noble the crane is. 若非群玉山头见，群玉 is the mountain's name, is a Kunlun mountain. So when you see the Qingyu mountain, it means actually it's associated with sort of the ancient stories that Wang Mu Niang Niang, half fairy lady, half human character in the Asian stories, is a much very beautiful woman living in the Kunlun mountain, in the mount of Qingyu Shan. And there are several stories about her. And he actually later becomes the queen of the heaven. That's in the Taoism's stories. So in a normal Chinese mind, Wang Mu Niang Niang is a beauty at the first hand, and also she was the queen of the heaven, because the Chinese think on the earth, on the heaven, the social structure is quite same. There's a heaven of the emperor of the heaven and queen of the heaven, and on the earth we have the emperor, we have the queen, and we have the normal peoples. So here Li Bai said, what I saw here, the beautiful woman, the beautiful clouds, the peony flowers, all the situation, if it's not in the Kunlun mountain of the Wang Mu Niang Niang, 若非, if not seeing in that mountain, which means he's seeing the Wang Mu Niang Niang, the queen of the heaven, or it would be on the Yao Tai under the moon. Yao Tai is the steps made of the jade, and also normally it refers to the fair land and the place is for the fair ladies. And so if you meet a fair lady on the steps made of jade, so that's the second situation. This is a little complicated. The third sentence is, if this situation in front of the Li Bai is not on the Kunlun mountain of the Wang Mu Niang Niang, as seen in the Kunlun mountain, which is about Wang Mu Niang Niang, all this situation is under the moon, on the jade steps. I saw the fair ladies. So the first two sentences is a little bit direct, describe the scenarios in front of the poet Li Bai. He saw the peony flowers, clouds, and the beauties, queens, and he used clouds and peony flowers to make the comparisons to the queens, the beautiful queens. And the third and fourth sentences, he just is a imagination of the poet, of himself. He just, because the situation in front of him is so magnificent, it's beyond everybody, even beyond the poet's imagination. So he just wonder, is this in a fair land, in the Kunlun Mountain, or it is in another fair land under the moon on the jade steps to saw the fair ladies in these places. So it's not in the on the ground, not on the earth. It's only can be imagined or can be seen in the fair land. Okay, that's about this poem. And peony flower till today is always used to describe a beauty, not just pure beautiful. It's a mixture of the noble, the richness, and it's sort of the royalty associated with that beauty, with peony flowers. So there's a very typical idiom about peony, 国色天香. So the color is for the state, the very good perfume, the smell is from the heavens. So it's not for the humans. It's only belongs to someone from the fair land or the royal families. So the peony is a state flowers in that sense. The sentences 云想衣裳花想容，春风拂槛露华浓 is still recited from time to time, and a lot of the advertisement for the perfumes, for the costumes, for the women's like to use some of the words from these sentences. So like 云想衣裳花想容, sort of 露华浓. So that has such a implication and impact for today's Chinese still. Okay, that's for today, for the springtime and for the best, most glorious flowers, peony. Bye-bye.